Frame. Skip. Get ready. It's going to be a very, very intense journey.
Begin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Frame Skip. This time, we're on episode 21. I'm surprised we made it this far, but I am your host for the evening, Austin Eller. I'm joined by the ladies' man, Elijah Steele. What's up, Elijah?
Oh, nothing too much. How about you?
Not a whole lot. Just, same old stuff. Tired.
The usual.
Storming.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go on vacation next week and never return. So,
where are you going?
Going to Florida. Good old
Hey.
COVID Central. But, Andie's aunt owns a house down there, and it's like on a private slip of land right on the beach. So it's going to be really nice.
Wow,
but
that does sound nice.
Yeah, so we're planning on just chilling at the beach for a week. And
is your work making you
there,
quarantine for 2 weeks afterwards?
No, actually.
See, my work is if we go anywhere that's like one of the hot zones in the United States, we have to come back. We're not allowed to come back to work for 2 weeks afterwards.
Wow,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
So don't come to Georgia because Georgia's probably one of those states.
I don't know.
But
at this point, I think most states are one of those states.
But anyway, that's off topic. Seth, he's also here. What's up, Seth?
What's up, brother?
Well, same thing I just mentioned, but how are you? It's been a while since I've been on a show with you.
Been a completely horrific week, actually.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So I almost died about a week ago. Actually, almost exactly a week ago. I hit a deer on the freeway, and there was an 18-wheeler behind me. I lost control of my car. So that sucked. The girl I was seeing, me and her ended up ending things again. So that's like the fourth time this year that's happened. That sucks. Typical nonsense. But those two things typically. Although I did figure out that I'm gonna buy a Camaro this year. So that's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy.
What year are you thinking?
2014 and above.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. So that's pretty sweet. What else? No, that's it.
Well, I think it's been a pretty awful year for everyone. So I would hope that moving forward, you have something to look forward to. I'd say that Camaro's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to that because I was gonna buy a V6, and then Pedro was just over at my house, and he just left about a half hour ago. Him and Watson, and Watson's the one that told me to get a V6. And when we were all talking about it, Pedro's like, you gonna get a V6 Camaro? And I was like, I was thinking about it, and he's like, oh, okay. Just, that's super disappointing. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm getting a V8.
I would totally get a V6 Camaro.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
The thing is, I mean, it also, like, how far do you drive to work every day?
Less than a mile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're fine. I was gonna say that's the one thing with the V8. Obviously, is the gas mileage is not good by comparison.
I mean, that's not what I'm really worried about. What I'm really worried about is that it's $10,000 more to get a V8.
Yeah.
True. That's quite a bit of money.
It's quite a bit of money, but I can't be the guy that when I drive up and I'm like, hey, I got a Camaro. They're like, what's under the hood? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a V6. And they're like, oh
yeah.
No, I decided today I'm not gonna buy a muscle car. It's a V6. I don't want that.
The newer V6 muscle cars are super good.
Yeah, I know.
They have more power and more torque than the V8s of like 5 years prior.
Yeah, I know, but they're not V8s.
Yeah, I totally wouldn't get a new V8 muscle car. No way. I'll get a
not an 8.
6-cylinder every day of the week.
I'll take the extra 100 horsepower.
I'll take the better gas mileage.
Hey, man, no, hold up. Hold up. You're not buying a muscle car for gas mileage, bro.
If I'm driving 35 to 40 miles a day to work, yes, I am.
That's why I'm keeping my car that I have now.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna drive the car I have now through the winter, and then I'm gonna keep my Camaro in the garage all winter.
I totally would do the same, which still has me driving to work 30 to 40 miles every day.
I mean, I ain't driving my muscle car 40 miles a day.
It's going to be my all the time car.
No.
I actually I'm looking at in a year or two getting a 2013, 2014 Mustang V6.
You've been saying that since 2012.
Yes, I have, but that was because they were new cars and I was not going to pay for a new Mustang. Now you can get them for like $11,000. I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, my one of my really good friends, he actually just like totaled his Mustang on his birthday last year. Actually, it was
Oof.
crazy.
Hey.
But some lady like pulled out in front of him. She like just missed the stop sign, I guess, didn't even see it, and just drove straight through it.
Yep, gotta have that comprehensive coverage.
Yeah.
Just found that out.
Yeah. So
'Cause,
yeah.
I'm paying for all my body repairs out of pocket right now.
Oh man. Ugh.
Oof.
Yeah, dude, I'll
I've
be honest.
never hitting a deer.
My Suzuki,
felt like
right now I'm
5.
just driving a Suzuki Grand Vitara. Like it's your basic mini SUV, not mini, but like smaller SUV, right?
Yeah.
Not made of much, just plastic and like, there's a small frame on it. It held up so well when I hit this deer, because normally when you see like deer accidents, that car is messed up. Like we're talking about 250-pound deer. It was big.
Oh yeah.
Normally like the car's completely ruined. It's totaled. The windshield smashed. I got off so lucky, dude. Like I hit that deer's shoulder and it spun out on the left side of my car. If I had been a millisecond slower, I would have hit that deer straight on.
Yeah.
My car probably would have been totaled. I would have ran over. I probably would have lost control and probably gotten run over by an 18-wheeler that was behind me. That's why I was saying like I almost died. Like there, when I hit that deer, even though the weight of the deer hitting the left side of my car caused me to lose control of the car, and I was able to regain control and pull off the exit to assess the damage. But if I had not been able to regain control of my car, like the traction, I would have spun out, either rolled it, or the 18-wheeler behind me would have ran me over and killed me.
All I can say is I'm glad you're safe, and that is probably, I would assume, one of the scariest things you've ever experienced in your life.
Yeah, I mean, like hitting the deer wouldn't be that big of a deal. It was the tractor trailer behind me.
I think I've hit like 5 deer in my life so far.
Yeah, that was the first one I've hit on the freeway, though. I've hit deer on like back roads before. Dude, actually, I'll go into the story. It's a really funny story. So, as you guys know, maybe you didn't know, we weren't recording the podcast at the time. I used to drive a Cougar, like a Mercury.
Oh
Cougar.
yeah,
I remember that.
They were kind of small, little quick cars. They weren't muscle cars or like really fast cars. They were a little quick. But I was driving on the back road, and this deer popped out, and I just tapped it right in its dome piece, right in its stupid head, and I was like, oh crap, So I hit this deer, and I look at my rearview mirror, and its body is just laying in the middle of the road. So I'm like, ah. All right. So I turn around, and I do like my daddy always taught me. I pull my knife out. I'm about to walk up and just finish this thing, right? So I drive up. I turn around. I drive up to it. I have my big old hunting knife in my hand. I don't go hunting, but I have a nice Gerber hunting knife. And I'm walking up to this deer, and on God, this deer wakes up and stands up and stares at me. Austin, when I tell you I crap my pants, when this deer woke up in front of me, I mean, I crapped my pants. I was so scared. I like jumped back, and I was about ready to stab this thing. I thought I was gonna have a death match with this deer, because what happened was I just knocked it out cold.
Yeah.
I thought I broke its neck and killed it, or gave it severe brain trauma and killed it. No, I just knocked this deer out cold, going 40 miles an hour on a back road. Somehow this deer survived, and I'm walking up to it, jumps up and stares at me. And I mean, I'm not even 3 feet away from this deer when it does.
Oh
this.
God!
And it jumps up, and I went into fight or flight, and I almost fled. I thought, I'm gonna have to fight this deer to the death now. That's how it's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to stab it and kill it, and I'm probably not gonna walk away unscathed. But it ran away, as it should have. It knew better.
So, on the topic of fighting wild animals, I want to bring up a topic that it's kind of taken over the Sacred Symbols podcast the last few weeks, which is, do you think you could win a fight against a goose?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I do. Like, this topic is so absurd. I would grab that stupid goose's neck as it charged at me, lift it over my head, and smash it off the ground until it had severe like internal bleeding and kill it. And dude, a goose has the biggest exposed weakness you can possibly have in an animal, and its whole big old neck is exposed.
Use it as a golf club.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab that goose's neck with both hands, and I'm just gonna bite into it like a savage animal. I'm gonna rip its jugular out, and I'm gonna break its upper spinal cord with my teeth, and that's over. It's over, man. I'm going full primate on this goose. It's over.
So Colin and Chris have had multiple people write in, and they've been like, "Oh yeah, geese are so dangerous and vicious," and
no
I'm like,
way, dude.
They literally, I mean, and Colin's right, and he basically said what you said. I mean, the neck is literally the most exposed weakness of like any animal out there, I'd say,
dude. And you know what? Here's the honest to God situation we're dealing with right now is that these people exist and survive because modern technology allows them to.
Yeah.
And if this was, the way nature was intended, they would have been eaten by lions already because they're not strong enough to survive.
Mm-hmm.
But the human race has evolved to take care of the evolutionary problem of survival of the fittest. So these people get to survive being eaten by gooses and whatnot. But the modern the modern man that has survived all these years that came from ancestors who built boats and were descended from Vikings who used to raid villages. Yeah. We don't care about these geese. We're coming at these geese with full force.
The Vikings weren't deterred by geese.
No, they were not deterred by geese. I'm telling you, man, I'm delivering a roundhouse kick right to this goose's face when it charges at me. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a goose charge, but they do get a little scary. They flap their wings and they come at you.
Get their wings way out.
No, dude, I am punting this goose so far, like I swear to God. On God. And now this is a throwback to the first T-ball episode that I had, which was what was the largest animal you think you could fight? I said I could. Yeah. I honest to God think I could choke out a black bear. And then we're talking about the northeastern American black bears. And now here's the thing: is it stronger than me? Yeah. Is it faster than me? Yeah. Does it have giant fangs and claws? Yeah, it does. But here's the thing, Austin. These bears like to wrestle. All right.
Yeah.
These bears like to wrestle, but they're unintelligent. And I'm telling
you,
man,
it's like when Thanos beat down the Hulk.
Yeah,
at the start of Infinity War.
Exactly. I'm hitting a switch on this bear, and I'm taking its back, and I'm choking the life out of it. And it's not going to be an honorable battle. I'm taking my thumbs and I'm shoving it into this bear's eyes over and over again, and I'm choking the life out of it. And then I'm going to take it back to my father, who's for the first time in his life going to be proud of me. And I'm going to say, Dad, I just killed this. I just killed this bear with my bare hands. Like, are you finally proud of me? Have I earned your respect? And he's gonna say, yes, son. And I'm gonna skin this bear, and I'm gonna hang it above my bed for the rest of my life.
I like it.
Yes.
Speaking of bears, Seth, what have you been playing?
I
you know what? That was a great transition. The only game I've been playing this week, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to play because I've been just busy with other stuff, is Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes. Tsushima.
Austin, you're the Japanese major. Please pronounce that.
Well, Tsushima is how you would say it.
I feel like I'm like slurring it though. Like I feel like I'm adding an H in there. Tsushima. Right? Sush.
Yeah, close enough. If for someone that doesn't know, the problem is that beginning TSU sound. I don't think people understand how that works.
I want to add an H in there, like an SH.
It's like Tsu. Like you like kind of do like a T sound while you say the SU. It's kind of
Tsushima.
Yeah. Well, there's your Japanese lesson for the day. But
quick side note: watching Shin Godzilla the other day, they mentioned the island of Tsushima in it.
Oh wow!
I'm like game.
So here's the thing. Let me just talk about Ghost of Tsushima.
Lay it down, Seth.
Let me just talk about Ghost for a second.
I want to play this game so bad.
I don't.
The game's amazing. I'm just gonna lay it out there. All right, I'm gonna lay it out there. I'm gonna tell you right now, the game's amazing. It's really good. All right. I'm running through. I'm icing all these Mongols. I'm driving them out of my island. All right. The story, top notch. It's classic Japanese warrior tale. You're getting invaded by the Mongols. You got 60 Japanese samurai died honorably on the beaches of Tsushima. Died honorably on the beaches. Right? Your uncle, he's kidnapped. You're building an army of the Ronin samurai to go back and fight against the Mongols.
Wow.
You're building your skills. You're getting stronger every day, every battle. All right.
Uh-huh.
I got these kunai now and these explosive sticky bombs that I'm throwing at these Mongols. I'm coming at them. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm liberating the villages. I'm saving the villagers. I'm the hero of the island. And I'm taking my samurai sword and I'm learning the new powerful skills, such as the heavenly strike and the one draw. I forget that Ini Jutsu, whatever. I talked about it last episode.
Yeah.
And I'm having a blast. And here's the thing that I will say about this game. First off and foremost, I mean, not first off. I've already talked about a lot of it, but it's probably the most beautiful video game world that's ever been created. Hands down. I mean, I can't think of a single video game world that's been created that looks more graphically appealing than this game.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that's amazing about it is that they did it in an extremely optimized way, so the game loads extremely fast. And this only becomes clear because, like, you know how my brain works. Like, I'm always interested in like, I see a game that looks this beautiful and runs this fast, and I'm like, why does it run this fast? Well, when you look at the actual textures of the things that make the game look amazing, they're not great. Yeah. Like the leaves and the grass and whatnot, they're pretty bare bones. But it's the lighting system in this game that makes it so that you don't even notice it. The lighting system in this game is so amazing that the game looks amazing. And
I was going to say, that's what I've heard, is that the actual textures and honestly even the graphics are not like crazy, but it's like the style of the game and like you said, the lighting that makes it look just phenomenal. And I've always thought it has looked so good. So
it does. It looks incredible. It looks incredible. When you're riding through these giant fields of flowers and whatnot, you're just like, wow, this is really pretty. I'm really enjoying this. The combat, incredible. It's very refined and fun, and you feel powerful when you're wielding your blade. There's different styles you can switch to for different enemies. Yep. You have to be tactical, or else you will be removed from the face of the earth. It will send your soul to the mortal realm. And what I really love about it, dude, is that, like, when you lose all your HP, that's not the end, right? When you lose all your HP and you can't recover because you don't have enough, I forget that there's a resource that you build up through combat. But if you have enough of it, you can recover. But if you don't, it's not like you just like go to 0 HP and it's game over. What'll happen is that you'll lose and you're already mad enough. Crap. I just got beat. And then the NPCs that beat you will walk over and they'll perform like a finishing move on you. Like, they'll take their giant club or axe or sword and just hit you in the back of the head. And I'm like, gotta rub it in. But no.
And you know what I heard about that, by the way, and I don't know if you know this, but apparently that is a disguise for a loading screen.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah, that's how they load you back in so quick after. It was what I was reading, was that whole segment at the end, it's literally loading you, like, restarting, essentially.
God, that's so impressive. Dude, Sucker Punch came onto something really impressive with this game. And I'm telling you, man, it's really, really good. Like, it's really amazing. I'm walking around, like, there's always something to do. And that's kind of where I'm at with Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I'm not in any rush to beat it. I really don't care. Like the story is amazing, but it's not gripped me enough to where I need to, like, push through it. It's everything that you do in the game has purpose behind it. And it's especially interesting to me because of being a martial artist, that when I'm going from point A to point B, I'm choosing to go the slowest way possible and hit all the waypoints on the way there, because it's like, oh, okay, there's a shrine that I'll go up that I'll pray at, and I'll get like a charm or something. But on the way to that, while I'm climbing this shrine, there'll be like a really pretty point of view that I can take a screenshot of and see the rest of the island. Or I'll see a fox on the way to point B, and that fox will lead me to a fox den. And I can pray at the fox den and I'll unlock a fast travel point, but and pet the fox, or maybe there's a Mongols like holding someone hostage they're about to execute, and I'll save them. The whole world that they built, it feels really, really deep, and it feels alive, and it feels like you're actually fighting against this massive, massive threat in the Mongols, because you really are the last true samurai on this island, and you're
Mhm.
fighting for your people, and you feel that in the game. And I think that's one of the things that like a lot of games miss. Like for instance, I will always say I think The Witcher is the best game of this generation. The Witcher 3.
Mhm.
So I think it's the most well crafted RPG. I think it's incredible, right? But when you're riding around as Geralt, there's really no urgency, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I think the game falters with in The Witcher 3 is that the themes don't connect. You've got this massive Nilfgaardian war going on, and Geralt is a very central player in this Nilfgaardian war with Ciri, and he's searching for his pseudo daughter, right?
Mhm.
But then he's like, I'm going to roll into this town, and I'll like talk to some of the villagers, and I'll I'll do some monster contracts, and maybe I'll sleep with some of these feisty women. But with Tsushima, everything you do in that game is about being a samurai and reclaiming your homeland to fight against the Mongol threat. There's no frill like there is with most open world games. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And,
Okay. So I want to make sure because like nothing I do in Ghost of Tsushima feels like it's a side quest. It feels like it's all part of the journey because, as you guys know, like being a martial artist isn't just about combat. It's about a way of life. So this game really encompasses what it's like to be a samurai in the 15th century with the Mongols invading. It's not all constantly chasing down the next threat. It's not about going from battle to battle or point A to point B or the next story beat. It's about like, oh, okay, like here's a shrine. I'll meditate at the shrine to realign myself with my chi or my center. And I think it's the strongest part of that game, which is just, okay, I have, all this stuff to do, and it all aligns with the central plot of the game, the central focus of the game, which is being a samurai in 15th century Japan. And I think that's the strongest selling point of the game. And I think they've done an excellent job. Sucker Punch is something really amazing. And by the way, before we move on, I just want to call out something that I've seen on the internet real quick because it really, really annoys me. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but I think it's one of the directors for Yakuza, the Yakuza series.
Yes.
From Sega.
Oh yeah.
He came out and said,
stupid interview.
Yes, he came out and said Ghost of Tsushima is amazing. It should have been made by Japanese people. Now, a bunch of websites are picking this interview up and using it as clickbait because of what do you call it? Cultural appropriation. They're framing it as cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
It's not. The guy said it out of 100% respect.
Yeah.
And
if you really actually sit down and read that interview, like that statement, that the fact that has been shared so many times is like infuriating because it's not like he thinks Japanese people should make it. It was like the fact that it's not made by it's made by people who are respecting Japan that much to make it that true to form and everything. That's what he's saying. Exactly.
That really, really annoys me, man. That like no, Austin, you can probably speak to this more than I have because you have a journalism degree. But like, wouldn't that be considered some sort of like journalist integrity? It's just some sort of.
Well, I mean, that would be literally, we have a code of ethics, and that would break it. I mean, that is not. You're taking something out of context, and I mean, you're changing the meaning. If you change the meaning of anything that you're reporting on, you're breaking the ethics. Like that's, like. A quote like that, and I get that it's translated. Like I know that can be a little tricky, but at the end of the day, like that should have never been taken in that context and shared so many times. And no, reading that over this last like week and a half, 2 weeks has been just so frustrating.
It's been shared over and over again, man, and I have not seen an uproar over it. Like people want to talk about Gamergate in I think it was like 2016, right? About like like the on it was 2016, right?
It was somewhere around
2015 about like unethical journalism. Well, this is one of the most blatant examples of unethical journalism from games media I have ever seen.
Oh, yeah. And
no one is like up in arms about it. No one's criticizing IGN for doing this. And I'm just like, this is a complete massacre to what this man's saying. Like you're completely taking his interview out of context. If I was this guy and I saw the IGN did this, I would never, ever have anything to do with them ever again. Like that is so infuriating, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just feeding into the narrative that like this is cultural appropriation. It's not. It's all out of respect, And this game gets so much right about Japanese culture from the 15th century. And it's one of the only games that scored a perfect score from Famitsu.
I was going to say that's what I was going to say was apparently like Japan freaking loves this game.
Yeah.
Like I've heard so many reports about like how well it's sold
out over there.
Yeah. And like how people feel about it. Like it supposedly they think it's phenomenal. So like if their own country, the country that this game is about, if those people love this game, I mean, obviously I wouldn't say it's any sense of appropriation or anything. Obviously like Sucker Punch really did a good job representing that culture and everything. So
well, that reminds me of like when they were making the Ghost in the Shell movie and Scarlett Johansson got cast as Major and everyone's like, why? That's not right. And the creator of Ghost in the Shell is like, that's a great casting choice. I love it.
Yeah, and supposedly a lot of people love that movie.
Well, because I've never watched or read Ghost in the Shell, but I do believe that she's an android, right?
Yeah, she's an android.
And she shapeshifts into the series to look more Western.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And the girl that she shapeshifts into looks a lot like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks very Western.
Like watching the anime after watching the live action movie, I'm just like, yeah, I just see Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, dude. I mean, come on, like you pick your battles. You know, like not everything has to be an outrage. That's just the way I view it, man. Like if you want to freak out about stuff online, make sure it's worth it. Because if it's not worth it, then you're just hurting your own objective. I can't think of the words right now. You know what I'm saying? Like if you freak out about small stuff that like is easily disproven, you're only hurting yourself. And IGN, I think, made a massive mistake going forward. And sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, here's what I'll say, at least about IGN specifically. And like, I'm not calling out people that work there necessarily. Like, I don't really follow IGN. I haven't in years, but I will say, like, as a journalist, the thing that really bugs me logging on to IGN, they're saying they're like a games media, games journalism site. You log on there and half of their front page is like advertisements that they themselves have written.
Yep.
Or like things where they're like, oh yeah, this is on sale. And like, obviously all those links for things on sale gives them money. Like that really bothers me. Like there's no real journalism at that website anymore. I feel like personally, I feel like it's more of a, oh, look, here's all this clickbait. Also, here's something on sale that if you buy it, we make money from it, and all these ads and free things that we've gotten from devs, and like, it's just too much.
So it's a slow news week anyway. So I mean, we'll use this as my topic. But like, when do you guys think IGN, the journalism aspect of IGN, died? Because I would say it was probably when Colin left. I mean, I can't think of a single journalist after Colin that was really diving at IGN for stories. Like Colin wrote the history of Sucker Punch and Naughty Dog, and that was like their deep journalism pieces. But after that, it all turned into what you're talking about, Austin, which is just this nonsense. And like I said the other week when I was hosting, and when it was me, Elijah, and George, I tried to find news, and I went to IGN like we used to when we had R&M, and I was like, I can't find a single thing on this website that is worth reading. And I don't understand how they're operating. And now I saw they're doing like IGN Prime, which is like a subscription service. And I'm like, you guys are out of control to think that I would give you $5 a month for the services you're offering. You don't offer any good services at this point.
I think, I mean, for me, Ryan McCaffrey, still writes sometimes. I feel like he's kind of the only one there that I'd say is one that kind of focuses on doing kind of journalistic pieces. But I'd say for sure, like the second, not that Greg really did anything, but certainly Colin, like obviously Colin was writing a lot and stuff still when they left. Greg was more personality based, but I'd even argue that Up at Noon, when Greg was hosting it, I would argue that's a piece of games journalism. I mean, he had like devs on like pretty much every week, and they would have big like 15-minute interviews on Up at Noon.
True.
And for me, I'd say that's certainly journalism, even though it's not, a huge flowing written piece.
All right. Yeah. So like, I'm looking at Ryan McCaffrey's IGN profile. You're right. He does put out some stuff like why there won't be a Halo Infinite 2. A lot of, cause he's the Xbox.
He's the Xbox guy.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
And he's been in the industry for a long time. I mean, he's been working I want to say since like the Xbox launch, the original Xbox. So
yeah, I want to say he was he at Official Xbox Magazine?
I want to say so, yeah.
If I remember
I
correctly.
remember we had him on the old podcast, and
Yeah.
I couldn't make it that week for some reason.
It was a good show.
Yeah,
it was a good show. He was a really good guy to talk to. But
yeah, I don't know, man. Like, and there's obviously a problem at IGN too, where they're either not paying enough or they're not promoting enough or something. Because everybody that works at IGN that gets any sort of status leaves, and that's been going on for years now.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think the interesting thing is, for one, IGN is still considered, I guess, like the highest, you know, the top of the line, like, games website. Like, it's the most famous one, and everyone knows IGN. But the thing is, like, there are much better websites out there if you're really looking for gaming news. I mean, like I said off the air, I pretty much only use Eurogamer when I'm looking for news, because they don't have all these ads and, you know, things that I would say as a journalist myself are unethical to display half of your website as kind of paid ads and things like that. But Eurogamer is just pure news. Like, I go on there's no op-eds, which, not that there's anything wrong with op-eds, but sometimes they can be a little too much. But I go on there and I find news. That's what I see. And I just think it's weird, to me at least, that IGN is still like something people care about. I don't know if that's something I'm imagining, but as a journalist, like I said, I really don't feel like IGN has been a journalism website for the last, I'd say, almost 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so. I agree with that. I mean, because like I was, while we were talking about that, I was browsing through their site, and I'm just like, God, this is just terrible. This is awful. And I'll be honest, man, I don't think it's long until, because I don't know anybody that actually goes to IGN, and goes to their website and looks through it. Like, I don't know a single person that does that. All I know is that they have a huge following online, and that people will click on their articles when they want something to read through Twitter or, you know, Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know I'm not long for this world.
Like I said, I'm not like bashing the people that work there. I know there are real journalists that work there. It's just kind of the way that website is set up. It just doesn't work. And, you know, I don't know how the management is now, but you look back a few years when, and Seth, you might remember this, but when Philip was hired there, the Nintendo guy, he was like a YouTuber, and they hired him. He had no journalism background at all. He was just a pure YouTuber. They hired him. He came on. He plagiarized multiple people's reviews while he was at IGN.
Yeah.
So IGN, this guy that they hired, plagiarized a bunch of people's reviews and posted them on the world's largest video game website. Like, I just don't. How does that slip through? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you listened. I can't remember if it was a Sacred Symbols Plus or Sacred Symbols when Colin brought this topic up recently, or a fan did to Colin. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how angry he would have been if he was at IGN at the time, because it just brings everyone's credibility down. Yep. Like, you have to ask yourself, legitimately, when that sort of thing happens, how did they not catch this? You know? And I saw that dude came back, Philip came back, and he put his Dead Cells review out not that long ago again.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you just being cheeky? Are you like trying to play the villain? What's your stance here? Because if you're trying to play the villain, I can kind of respect that, to be honest with you. Like, if you want to be like the villain of video games journalism, like, I can kind of get behind that, but don't try and like cement your place again as like an ethical journalist, because it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's crazy. Like I said, I trying to kind of walk a fine line here, because as a journalist, like I said, it's a weird place. But what I will tell you is that I feel like this is so prominent in games journalism. But what I have noticed is that tech journalism, it's almost the opposite. Like, you go to The Verge or Wired, like, they are so well known and so professional on those websites and publications. And I just feel like there's not really such a thing with games anymore. And it sucks. It's
very strange. Cause, for instance, what are those people that do Digital Foundry? That do
they're a part of Eurogamer.
Yeah, that does the in-depth analysis of the games and frame rates and hardware. They're a really incredible company, man. And like the stuff they dive into is really insane, and they're very well respected. I think if I remember correctly, like Sony sent them the PS5 or like a demo of the PS5 or a dev kit or something like that, like months ago, and they were going over it, and like they did the Spider-Man preview and showed how fast Spider-Man loads and whatnot. That means something, and I just feel like, maybe back in the day when we first started doing the podcast, IGN caught a whole bunch of crap they probably didn't deserve back then, right? Because they were just kind of the cool guys to hate on. But now, I just can't get behind them, man. Like especially like this week when they posted that Ghost of Tsushima article, and I was just like, God, you guys, like, this is a really scummy thing to do, and I'm just not behind it at all. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens moving forward. I think, like I said, there's places that are hit or miss, and like I said with Digital Foundry, I mean they're a part of Eurogamer. That's why I really do trust Eurogamer. I feel like I can log on there and trust what I'm reading, and I really don't feel that with IGN. I mean everything.
Yeah.
I know it's so cliche, but everything feels bought out on that website, and I don't know if that's the truth, but I don't like that feeling.
Well, it's important to say, I think, on the podcast, to be fair, we don't necessarily think that reviews are being bought.
No, absolutely not.
But it's just it's the giant monetization of that website that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that website at this point is more set up to make money than to report accurately and give, the fans of IGN good content and things of that sort, personally.
Right.
But anyway, that's a huge can of worms we just opened up, but I thought that was a good conversation to have.
What's important to talk about?
But Elijah, if you want to talk about anything you've been playing, you can.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So I've been playing 2 games, Fairy Tail and Code Vein.
Wow.
Please give me your opinions on Fairy Tail. I want to hear.
Yeah, I want to know too, because I'm really curious.
Fairy Tail, based on the anime, is a classic turn-based RPG, but the battles are a little different. I'll get to that in a moment. So it takes place during the Magical Games arc, and then the arc right afterwards, which is like very far ahead in the show, and I'm not even remotely near there.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I believe it takes place right before the Magic Games arc.
No. Like, I'm in the Magic Games right now.
Okay, that's not how I understood from the trailers and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm in part.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought the whole premise of like the first part of the game was rebuilding Fairy Tail.
I'm still rebuilding Fairy Tail.
But you're in the middle of the Magic Games?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember enough.
Well, because remember that on Tenro Island they disappeared for 7 years. When
that was the.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that happened, like if that was what happened in the show or not, or if that was just that's how it gives in the game. Oh, they're at level 1 again because they disappeared for 7 years and they didn't know it was 7 years. It just happened to be that, and that's how they're so weak.
Yeah, and there was a 2-year layoff in between the Tenro Island arc when they came back, where they were training for the Magic Games. And then the Magic Games happened, but they rebuilt Fairy Tail in between that time before the Magic Games, which is why I'm so confused. So the game must be taking the story in a little bit of a different direction.
Yeah, it sounds that way because like Fairy Tail, like they bring back the guild again, but essentially they're building it back up to its former self. And like I said, I haven't gotten to this point in the show, so I wasn't sure how much was just part of the game and part of the the story is done in corroboration with the creator of the series, so like to make it as almost canon as possible. But anyhow, it is a turn-based RPG. You'll go take requests, go out. Some of the requests are very basic: slay 10 flutterers. But then some of the quests are even more basic. So you're rising in the guild ranks. Like I'm B right now. I'm rank B. And you'll get this request, slay 10 of this creature and 5 of this creature. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to do that in one way through. Like I might run out of MP or whatever, and I might have to come back and heal first. And then you'll get another request, same rank, get the same amount of money, same amount of ranking for the guild. Find a book and you'll go talk to someone and, hey, do you have this book? Yeah, but I need you to find this item for me. Oh, I have the item in my inventory already. Hand him the item, which is a very basic item. All right, cool, thanks. And it just got me the same amount of money and renown for the guild as that one for slaying 15 creatures. So the quests are kind of offset in a not great way. The battling is fine. Leveling up happens. Even if characters aren't in your party, they get 50% of the experience that you're getting.
That's always a plus for me.
So yeah, same here. So they're still leveling up, just not the same rate. Then you can do bonds with each character where you don't. So like Natsu, who's the main character of the show, he doesn't always have to be in your party. Like he can be in your party.
Oh, really?
10% of the time.
Wow.
It all depends. Like, is he required for that mission? No. All right. You can have your party be Urza, Lucy, Gray, and Wendy.
That's really cool.
There are a bunch of playable characters. I haven't even gotten all of the playable characters yet. So it's really hard to describe this game at times because if you like Fairy Tail, you would enjoy this game. But even if you like Fairy Tail, I'm not going to say it's a great game. Like, I am thoroughly enjoying it. I'm loving my time with it. I'm not going to say it's a great game. The quests, like I said, can be super easy. Battling is fun, where battles take place on like a grid system. It's still turn-based, but the enemies are on a grid, like a 3x3 grid, and each attack does a certain square pattern. Whether it be one square, or another attack might be like a T, or another one, the bottom two rows if it's like a more powerful attack, stuff like that. And sometimes even battles later in the game are super easy. And it does the one game trope that I'm not a big fan of, where, oh, I'm really crushing it on this boss, and then you win that fight. Single-handedly win the fight super easily. And then it comes up with the cutscene, you're all beaten up and laying on the ground, and like you can't move, and the enemy's still walking right towards you, and I'm like, I just crushed this person in this fight, and now I'm lying here like I completely lost. So I'm not a big fan of that trope in games. Yeah. I'm enjoying my time with it. It's hard for me to recommend unless you're a fan of Fairy Tail, which I have become one recently. I'm on like episode 15, but I absolutely love the show. So
it only gets better from there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, really
and that's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, like Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is a really, really special anime. I'm really glad Austin convinced me to watch it, and I'm a little disappointed that you're playing the game right now because it's going to spoil a whole lot of stuff for you.
See,
in that
it
arc.
will, but like I said, I'm curious what is going to be different between the game and the show. So I'm not sure. Like I said, the whole like being at Tenro Island thing, I didn't know if that was actually in the show or not. Like I thought that was like made up for the game.
No, it's a huge plot point in the show.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I like I said, unless you're a Fairy Tail fan, I can't recommend picking it up yet. When it's cheaper, like at $40 even, I'd say, all right, yeah, that's worth it. But there's just a lot of easy quests and such. But the big one I want to talk about is I've been playing Code Vein, which is anime Dark Souls.
Yeah, this game always looks super interesting to me.
I'm loving it. It is super good, super fun. I find it a little easier and harder than Dark Souls. Like the section where I just was, I've had someone with me in the game for a little bit, and unless he's busy, like maybe he's being attacked or he's in the middle of an attack or something, if you happen to die, he will revive you with some health. So I was like, oh, okay. So I got through this one section very easily, even though I was dying somewhat often, mainly because of my stupidity. But I find the actual combat is a little easier than Souls, so that makes it nicer even. I love Souls, and still, I love the Souls combat. I'm completely okay with the difficulty. Making it a little easier has me so much more involved. The story is very interesting so far, because the whole idea is, like, people... This thing happened to this city, and, like, everyone basically is trapped in the city. And some of these people require blood to kind of satiate their thirst because they're not quite turned into what they call the lost. And so this blood kind of saves them from turning. And essentially, you are a revenant who goes around hunting lost, basically, and finding blood for people. It's just a super fun game. I'm not that far into it yet, but I am loving my time with it.
I want to get back into some, because it's a Bandai Namco game, right?
Yes, it is.
I kind of miss playing some of those like kind of Bandai Namco anime-y games. I picked up Tales of Berseria for like $3 like a couple months ago.
That's a good choice. I think it's the best Tales game.
That's what I've heard. So I kind of want to get back into some of those games. They really make some pretty good
Bandai Namco
titles.
also has the best sports game ever coming out later this month. Captain Tsubasa, the anime soccer game. You need to see this trailer because you'll watch it like, oh, it's FIFA, and then just halfway through that sentence, you'll see how incredibly anime it is, to the point where you'll go to make a kick, and then it'll turn to a cutscene of like the ball essentially being on fire, and like you do this crazy kick, and I'm like, yes!
That's awesome. That sounds really cool.
No, I've been loving Bandai Namco games lately. Code Vein is so good. I picked it up recently on sale, and I am having a blast with it.
What's that? The new one that was shown at that Xbox event a few months ago? Yeah, not Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Scarlet Nexus.
Scarlet Nexus. That looks really good.
One of the lead designers or lead scenario designer, something like that. One of them is like the lead that thing from Code Vein.
Oh, nice.
Actually, people were like, "So, is this a sequel to Code Vein or anything?" And he's like, "No, it's a completely separate thing. Just stop asking."
Huh.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that one too.
Cool. I haven't really been playing a whole lot, so I'm not going to stay long on this, but I did start up Horizon again. Been trying to get through that, and I'm only probably about 3 hours in, but I'm like thoroughly enjoying it this time by comparison to when I last played. So
reminds me, I need to go to a comic shop. The first issue of the Horizon comic came out yesterday.
Oh, nice! I didn't know they were doing that. That's cool.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's about, but I'm curious.
I'm really enjoying it. Glad to get back into that game. And I did play a bit of Carry On.
Yeah.
Which is really, really fun. Highly recommend it. It's free on Game Pass, but it's like they call it a reverse horror game where basically you are the monster and you're just going through like destroying people.
Yeah, but isn't that like you're caged or something and basically you're getting out?
Yeah, you're like in a test tube thing and you like escape and like kill all your like little scientist guys that are like watching you and like tear them to shreds and eat them. And I'm like, this is awesome.
Did you see they changed the logo on the Switch?
Yes, I did see that. And if you have not seen the Carry On Switch logo, you should really look it up. So, yeah.
I love it.
But seeing as we're 53 minutes into this podcast, it's probably more like 50 for those listening. But let's go on and get into some news quick before we wrap it up here. Elijah, it's time. Let's talk about this Avengers game.
So,
yeah, that about sums it up.
Let's start with the story first, then we'll get into the question. So, this is from Eurogamer, from Matt Wales. I don't know how to read their website yet. There's good news for Spider-Man fans hoping to see their favorite web-slinger in Crystal Dynamics' upcoming Avengers game. Or rather, good news for some Spider-Man fans at least. He'll be joining the post-launch hero lineup for free next year, but as a PlayStation exclusive. Confirmation of Spider-Man's arrival comes via the PlayStation blog, where Crystal Dynamics says it's hard at work making him just as great on the sticks as he is on the page. The developer explained his ultimate goal is to make the transition between Spider-Man's acrobatic combat and sticky-fingered environmental movement as seamless as possible. When he's arching through the air on his web line, we want you to feel graceful and light, and be able to utilize a variety of web configurations and gadgets to enhance your traversal, it says. Crystal Dynamics notes it will be celebrating Spider-Man's arrival in the PlayStation versions of Marvel Avengers next year with a special in-game event featuring unique challenges. Now, updated, in another burst of news that sure affects Xbox and PC players, Sony has shared details of yet more of Marvel's Avengers PlayStation exclusives, including special in-game events, rewards, and 30-day early access to certain cosmetics for all heroes. Following yesterday's news that Spider-Man will be... Blah, 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 we just talked about that. Square Enix has revealed that PlayStation owners will also get 30-day exclusive access to a legendary outfit, legendary emote, epic takedown, and nameplate for every new hero upon their release. This includes all 6 launch day heroes. Additionally, as outlined in a new blog post, including introducing the game's community challenges, essentially events that require players to work together on a large scale to accomplish a goal and earn rewards, developer Crystal Dynamics has confirmed it's prepping a series of community challenges that will only be available to PlayStation players. Now, to add to this, let me see what it says here. Head Scott Amos has commented on the controversy surrounding Spider-Man being exclusive, and he says, so the beauty of Spider-Man and what Spider-Man represents as a character in this world is, again, it comes back to the relationship with PlayStation and Marvel. We happen to be ones who can execute and deliver when it comes down to choices of where and what Spider-Man can be. That's a relationship question that PlayStation absolutely has the rights to. Yeah, that, as you guys know, with Sony's movie rights ownership there, and Marvel with Sony saying, hey, this is something we can do. This is something we can do on this platform. And as creators, we have the opportunity that we can make something unique and fun and awesome. Now, I've seen a lot going around lately of 2 sides to this argument. One of them being, this is very anti-consumer.
Yes.
The other one being, it's not so much that it's anti-consumer, but pro-PlayStation. I want to hear your guys' take on this. Basically, I'll just start off with my quick one. And I have a fun story I found out about today with Square Enix's pre-orders. I think this is more pro-PlayStation than anti-consumer. With the reason being, first off, do we know who has the video game rights to Spider-Man?
No, but it's not Sony.
I didn't think so.
That's what I know.
I didn't think so. The other thing... Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's just straight up Marvel, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I was thinking, too.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it, if Sony paid for them to make Spider-Man in the game, then I have less of a problem with that.
I just looked it up. Sony does own the video game rights to Spider-Man.
Are you sure?
Why? That is according to Google. Who owns the video game rights to Spider-Man? Sony. Many assume, based on the movies and 2018's Marvel Spider-Man game, which released exclusively on PlayStation 4, that it's Sony who owns the rights to the character. I mean,
but that's many assume.
And then the other. This is from Marvel's Avengers Spider-Man 2021 DLC. Sony owns all the rights to Spider-Man, which explains why the games are PlayStation exclusives. Why the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of the character is a part of contentious agreement between Disney and Sony, and why this latest collaboration will also remain exclusive to all Sony consoles. That's from Inverse.com.
That kind of answers another question I had. So, because I wonder if that's part of the whole deal when Sony was going to get the rights back from Disney for the movies, and then they made that deal. I wonder if that's how Spider-Man game came about to be, because Sony got the rights to the Spider-Man game.
Wait, I just realized something though. I don't know that that's accurate, because Spider-Man is in Ultimate Alliance 3 on Switch.
When was that originally being made? Start being made? Could that have been before the agreement?
That's true. That's possible. I mean, it just came out last year, though. I'm not really sure when it started.
Yeah,
but
I have no idea
that's
either.
A valid point.
I've been curious too.
Ginks.tv did an in-depth article where they said they don't believe. It seems like it hasn't been confirmed.
Yeah.
But according to Google,
again, the Google thing said we believe or we assume.
Well, that was when you expanded upon it. The first thing that comes up on Google is from Inverse.com. It says Sony owns all the rights to Spider-Man, which is about this particular incident. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'm not an expert on this field. I just tried to look it up.
I think it's, from what I can tell, there's not really a clear answer, because there's this article from Newsweek that just came out yesterday that says they do not own the rights. So I think it's just kind of, I don't know that anyone really knows, to be honest. Anyway, but that's off topic. But
what I will say is they may not own the rights, but Sony might have a contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man.
Agreed.
Now, here's one thing I was thinking. The whole thing right now is it's very anti-consumer, and with the whole PlayStation 4 controllers won't work for PlayStation 5 games, but all Xbox One's controllers will, and all that. I want you to think about what the contract is between Xbox and games that come to Xbox later. In order for a game to later come to Xbox, and this is confirmed, I heard it a while ago, I can't remember where and everything, but it was in podcasts and that. Platinum Games, Wonderful 101. Like, this was when they explained why it won't be coming to Xbox. If a game doesn't come to Xbox right away, but comes later, they need to add exclusive content for the Xbox version. That's the only way it's allowed to be on an Xbox platform. That's why they aren't bringing Wonderful 101 to Xbox.
Yeah.
So just think about that. Anything that's been on something else needs exclusive content for Xbox versions in order to come to that console.
I mean, I'll just toss my take into this real quick. First off, I honestly swear to God, I couldn't care less about this Avengers game. I will not be buying it. I don't care about playing it at all. I think it looks terrible. But here's what I'll say: this is just business, dude. Like,
yes,
you know, so Sony is trying to get people any incentive they can to sell their console, and I can't blame them for that. Also, I don't think that 90% of the people who are complaining about this are actually going to buy the game, because I've seen nothing but bad comments and press about this game. I haven't seen anyone excited about it. But yet, when this whole thing erupted, everyone was seemingly at every corner of the internet being like, "This is such bad business practice. This is terrible. I'm not buying this. I'm not paying the same amount of money for less content." And I'm like, "Okay, don't buy it." But if Spider-Man is such an important property to you, buy a PS5. I mean, that's just how I view it, man. Like, because I on God, I would not care if there was some crossover fighting game that Xbox only got Master Chief, or they only got, some random Xbox character. Spider-Man at this point is a PlayStation character. The Spider-Man PS4 game is an exclusive, right? Xbox gamers cannot play the Spider-Man PS4 game. He's not an Xbox property. And I just think that, like, if you care that much about Spider-Man, if he's that important to you, buy a PlayStation.
Here's what I'll say. I think as a business practice, is it crazy? No, I don't think so. I mean, I feel like this is just more of the norm.
Yeah.
Honestly. Well, do I think it's a little anti-consumer? Yeah, I'd say maybe a little bit, because you're essentially taking, imagine like a full-on class in World of Warcraft or something, or I guess a better example is Final Fantasy. Imagine a new class in Final Fantasy 14 only being on PS4 or PS3 or whatever it is, and not on PC, on the PC version of the game. I think that would be a little crazy. Do I think they're crazy for doing this, like money-wise? No, not at all. I mean, like I said, I just think that's part of the game at this point. But I do, as somebody who doesn't care about this game whatsoever, I do think it's a little weird to kind of take a full-on character and make him exclusive. But I mean, we've seen it before.
Now,
Ultimate Alliance, the old games, they had exclusive characters on each system.
Now, here's the fun thing I heard on today's Kind of Funny Games Daily. Someone wrote in about it.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Xbox One version, like the big collector's edition, on pre-order.
Yeah.
And Square Enix took the money for pre-orders on Friday, and then on Monday announced Spider-Man only on PS4.
Okay, now that is a problem.
And then
I don't
on Tuesday
correlate.
And then on Tuesday announced all the PlayStation exclusive DLC. And on Wednesday all the previews dropped.
I don't know that those things correlate, honestly, because as far as I know, Square Enix takes the money for pre-orders beforehand anyway.
They do.
I don't know that they would be like, all right, we're gonna take these people's money before this announcement drops.
Yeah.
I don't know that those two correlate.
I just feel like it just happened to be like couple days before they like had all this press announcements.
Yeah, and I really don't. I mean, I agree with you, Seth. I don't think they like did it on purpose, but they probably should have thought about that a little more before. I guess this, not that they decided to take out money, but I guess whenever they decided to do this announcement. But no, like I said, I don't really care about this game, so it doesn't affect me. But in a perfect world, should Spider-Man be on every version of this game? I think so. Yeah, but
I agree.
As Seth said before, that's just one character. We literally got a full-on Spider-Man game, the best Spider-Man game ever made, one of the best games this generation, exclusive on PS4, and nobody was complaining then. So I know it's a little different. I know Sony owns Insomniac, but still, for me, it's like, I think it's really not like a end of the world situation.
Yeah, I really don't get why people are so up in arms.
Like,
I think this is just, honestly, I think if this came out 3 years ago, I don't think anyone would bat an eye. It's just one of those things. We've got 2 consoles coming out.
Yeah.
The console wars are starting up again, and people are looking for any fuel to the fire they can get. And we go through this cycle every few years when a new generation comes out. I'm sick of it. I really don't care. And that's why I'm saying, like, if Spider-Man's that important to you, go buy a PlayStation.
Yep. And
if you have that much allegiance to Xbox that, like, you refuse to buy a PlayStation and you partake in these console wars, you're wrong. Like you're immature and you're wrong. Dude, I just don't care anymore, man. Like, I really truly don't care. If you're buying Xbox based on some console allegiance, and fanboyism, it's time to grow up, dude. I just don't care about this nonsense anymore. If Xbox had games that I wanted to play, I would buy an Xbox, or like if this was a situation, I would just buy an Xbox. I don't care instead of a PlayStation. I'm not going to, because PlayStation has the games I want and the characters I want. But like, dude, like seriously, all you have to do is put your money elsewhere and you can get whatever you're complaining about. This is all up to personal choice to the person. Like, if you want to play Halo and you also want, like, Spider-Man and Marvel's Avengers, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, like, life just isn't fair. Like, the world doesn't cater to you. And people just need to understand that, And it's just like, yeah, it sucks. I get that it sucks. But you can't expect businesses and companies to just be like, you know what, man, these people, they're right. Like, these people complaining about Spider-Man, they're right. Who cares about selling consoles, man? Like, let's just do what's right to the person. It's never gonna happen. You know?
And the thing is, at the end of the day, too, I mean, this is Square Enix we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, this is not like some just like heavenly company. This is freaking Square Enix. They've like done so much crap.
I will say Square Enix did give me one of my favorite pictures ever, which has the girl and the dog from Full Metal Alchemist, and the dog says Enix and the girl says Squaresoft.
Dude, this is the company that seriously locked the real ending of Final Fantasy 13-2 behind a paywall of DLC. Yeah. They did that. The ending of Final Fantasy 13-2 makes no sense unless you buy the DLC.
Capcom did it too.
Yeah, like, these companies are not out to make you happy. Like,
they just want money.
They just want your money. And if Sony wants to contract Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics to put exclusive content after that system, they can do that. I don't think that Spider-Man would be coming to Marvel's Avengers at all if Sony didn't strike this deal. So really, all this does is say, okay, well, PlayStation players get a little extra. But you know what? If that wasn't happening, nothing changes for Xbox players, because they were never going to get Spider-Man to begin with. Spider-Man was never going to come to Microsoft. It wasn't going to happen.
Now, here's the other thing, is I have a feeling people are going to be upset with Spider-Man in the game anyhow, because you have Spider-Man in this game right next to Marvel Spider-Man, who controlled very, very good. And people love Spider-Man, love the Spider-Man game, And something tells me he's not going to control like that in Marvel's Avengers, and people are going to be upset.
Hey, here's like a 2020 breaking news. People are going to be upset with this game anyway because it looks like trash.
Well, that's what I wanted to move into, and we can even bring in Chris's question here. But like the fact that, look, do I think this is right personally? No. Do I think it's like a groundbreaking end of world situation like I mentioned before? No. What I do think is crazy is the fact that literally the entire planet has been trashing this game since it was announced, and then this comes out and the whole world is up in arms.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying earlier.
This doesn't make sense.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
And that's just like one of our questions coming from Chris Chamberlain. Did any of you watch or read any of the Avengers previews that came out today? What did you think, and did it change any of your feelings on the game? I'm very cautiously optimistic. I'm going to wait for reviews before buying at least.
No, man, I didn't read or watch the reviews because at this point, like, I've seen so much of the game, and I've given it all the chances it could possibly have to impress me.
Basically, I read a couple before we started, and basically what I got out of it was it's fine, but there are definitely problems.
So I skimmed through probably about 3 or 4 previews, and the ones that I read were decent. The biggest complaints I could tell were that it was extraordinarily repetitive, which I had a feeling would be the case based off the trailers. And then the one preview, I don't remember which website it was on, but they basically said that the game feels like it's tearing back and forth between a Destiny hero shooter, MMO kind of feeling thing, grindy with gear and all this stuff, with a super story driven like Last of Us or whatever type game it might be. And it doesn't get either one right because it's going back and forth between these two that just don't work.
And there's another game I was super excited for that had that problem with, is it going to be this type of game or this type of game? And it delivered on neither, and that was We Happy Few. And if there's another We Happy Few, I'm going to be upset. And here's the other thing. With how this game is panning out from previews and how it's okay, Spider-Man is coming out in 2021. Who all is going to still be playing it in 2021 that are upset and everything?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, man. This game's going to come out. It's going to crash and burn. We've all been following this industry long enough to know when this type of thing is going to happen. You get that gut feeling. I've had that gut feeling since this game was announced. Or not really. It was announced a really long time ago. But since it was shown off, it just looks bad. Well, you could not convince me to like there's just no way you can convince me to buy this game day one. It's just not gonna happen. Like I said, I didn't read the previews today because I was completely out the second I saw the gameplay. When they showed that extended gameplay trailer or whatever it was, I was like, nah, no way. This is not for me. Now, I don't care.
Which one are you talking about? The extended gameplay trailer.
The one where they were on the street on the bridge. I think.
Oh, the one from last year.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say I watched not this newest roundtable, but the one before that. A lot of this like gameplay elements and such has improved. Like when we watched that original gameplay, I'm like, this looks terrible. But watching that newest roundtable, I'm like, okay, it has my attention.
Well, and based off the previews that I read, everyone said the gameplay was actually really, really good.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the gameplay trailer right now, and dude, it's just it doesn't like this is a multiplayer game, right? Like it's a co-op multiplayer game, right? Yeah. Nothing I'm seeing is I'm watching the Thor run around. Nothing about this impresses me. Like I just don't think this was the direction they should have gone. Everyone wants to do these games as service games. And we talked about this a few weeks ago. Like, not everything can win. And I just don't think Marvel's Avengers was... First off, I think people have, like, a massive superhero fatigue. I'm completely over that.
I am, too.
Also, like, I just think that, like, this was not the genre for this game.
No.
Make it, like if you made this, like, a Marvel Ultimate Alliance type game and you made it, in this style, I might be into it. Because the reason I don't play Marvel Ultimate Alliance is because the isometric view, I hate it. But, there's nothing that looks fun to play about this game. It looks repetitive and it looks boring. And I'm watching Thor fly around and smack stuff with his hammer.
Here's what I'll say. I'm curious about it, but I think the thing that I'm noticing is this feels almost identical to Anthem's launch.
I was gonna say that.
Nah,
And
Anthem was more fun. That I'm sure of.
And well, just like the atmosphere around this game. I mean, I felt like not really anyone. I mean, maybe I'm misremembering this, but I feel like not really anyone was excited for Anthem. Like it was coming out and it just came out and it was gone. And I feel like we're just coming up on that same thing with this game, which, I mean, you can tell that's a problem when the movie with the highest revenue of all time is freaking Endgame. What I mean, I would argue Avengers, the last 10 years is probably the biggest IP on the planet. And this game's coming out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just hearing no one talk about it. So I think, the fact that that's a thing, this game's coming out next month. Like, I just can't believe that.
God, I mean, so here's another problem I have with the game though, too, is that like we've got Captain America, Thor, Bruce Banner, Black Widow, Iron Man, and Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And we have Spider-Man now.
Hawkeye too.
Is Hawkeye in the game?
Yes.
I don't see his.
He's coming as DLC.
Okay, he's coming as DLC.
I think he's like day one DLC or something like that.
And Miss Marvel is supposed to be like pretty much like the main character of the game, from what I understand. Like she's like a central. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. Miss Marvel is not an interesting character. Like she's got the same abilities as Bruce Banner, or not Bruce Banner.
Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic. I can't remember his alter ego name. She's not an interesting character. She's not. Like, I don't care, man. Where's all like the, like, give me other characters. Give me. You know, if you've been trying to push him so hard the last 10 years, give me Falcon. Give me, the Fantastic Four. Give me anything, man. I just these are the most boring, basic characters the Marvel universe has to offer.
I think they went with them because these are the ones that people know. But that being said, like, especially for what I feel of it, I don't care about these characters anymore. I've seen them so much lately. Yeah, legitimately, the character I want to play as the most is Hawkeye.
Yeah, I mean, what about, like...
That's fine, though, because if I want to play this game, no one else is going to want to play as Hawkeye, so at least I always can use it.
Like the Human Torch would be cool. I mean,
even somebody like the Winter Soldier, like...
Yeah, Winter Soldier would be cool.
Please.
I mean, dude, it's just it's not there for me, dude. It's just not there.
I'm like genuinely curious what happens when this game comes out. I just think it's going to be another Anthem. Like, I don't think this game is going to take off. Will it be good? I don't know, maybe, but I don't think it's going to do what it's aiming to do.
What I had read is the game is good, but it's just very, very repetitive.
Like, what about Captain Marvel?
Yeah. Absolutely.
They spent so much time pushing Captain Marvel the last, few years. And I hate Captain Marvel as a character, but like people seem to love her. Why not? Why didn't you put her in the game? She's way more interesting than Miss Marvel. Kamala Khan's not an interesting character.
Somebody like Nova.
Yeah, Nova's awesome.
Like Moon Knight. I mean, people talk about these characters and like they don't get any representation.
And I mean, sure, they might be coming, but the problem is they're not here yet, and they're trying to sell us the game.
Yeah.
Black Panther.
Scarlet Witch. Give me Scarlet Witch. Quicksilver.
Yeah. Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Black Panther, any of them.
Yeah, dude.
Well, that's my thing here. And at the end of the day, and we can probably move on. I feel like we're getting kind of repetitive here. But I feel like Elijah said earlier, I feel like they're trying to replicate the films. And like that's not what they should have done.
The problem is they're trying to replicate the films, but at the same time saying this is a completely different universe where we are our own thing. But here are the characters that you have in the films
in the exact same costumes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm good on the Avengers, man. I'm out.
I will be following it closely because I'm very curious.
Yeah, me too.
But at no point am I going to even remotely think of, oh, maybe I'll pre-order this game. No, that's not going to happen.
It doesn't.
I might get it if it's ever $20, $15, maybe, but that's about it for me.
It doesn't have gameplay, characters, or a story that appeals to me, and for that reason, I'm out.
I mean, I don't know enough about the story, so I'm kind of curious about the story. I'm not going to lie, but
yeah. Speaking of games that are interesting to me, this week, Microsoft came out and announced that Halo Infinite's multiplayer portion is going to be free to play.
Bad move, dude.
I think that's genius.
I think it's it's super like pro consumer, but I think it's a bad move.
Tell us why, Seth.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's a bad move?
For the same reason, I think making Call of Duty completely free to play is a terrible move. I mean, dude, here's the thing. The Halo campaigns have not been good for a while, and I think one of the biggest reasons people were buying these games was to see what happened next. I don't think people care that much anymore, and I think making their multiplayer completely free to play is going to hurt sales in a massive way. It's great for the consumer. I think it's like it's awesome. You can pick up an Xbox and play Halo multiplayer for free. That's great for the people. But for Microsoft, I think this was a terrible decision.
I don't think so, because I guarantee you, it's going to have a battle pass.
Yeah, and that's what the leak, before they confirmed this, that's what the leak was suggesting.
Did you see how much money Call of Duty made just based on battle passes and microtransactions in the past 2 months? $1.5 billion.
Good God.
It's a lot of money.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
None of that is from buying the game.
That's what I was going to say is... you look at Fortnite, you look at Warzone, Apex. I mean, they're all extraordinarily successful. And yeah, they're all free to play, but which is crazy to me because like I've never purchased anything. Like I will never purchase like aesthetic stuff or battle passes. Like that's just not who I am. I don't play enough multiplayer games. But for the people that do, those 3 games specifically make astronomical amounts of money just off of those.
Here's the other thing, though, I think we need to take into consideration is that
Yeah.
Halo is not the king of games like it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Like,
True.
I don't know anybody that's playing Halo 5 multiplayer these days. I don't know that many people who will probably switch from playing Call of Duty back to Halo or Apex back to Halo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Halo multiplayer, like Halo multiplayer is really going to have a place. And we just talked about this with George the other day. How many battle passes can you possibly have?
Yep.
You know, I just don't see this being a good move business wise for Microsoft. Like I said, I think it's great for the consumer. It's awesome for people, and it's awesome for Xbox players. I don't think that you're going to see the same type of numbers from Halo Battle Pass as you will from like a Call of Duty, Fortnite, or Apex Battle Pass. I don't see it happening, man. I think that like Halo had a chance to be this consistent franchise back in the day, and everyone played Halo multiplayer. Everyone played Halo 3 multiplayer. Like that was a staple of our generation's gaming childhood.
Yep.
But it faded away. And it faded away because of bad, you could argue bad business decisions with the Halo franchise from Microsoft or maybe repetitiveness. But that's kind of a hard argument to make when Call of Duty is the same exact game every year. But I don't know, man. I don't think that Halo is going to come out and light the world on fire like it did in 2003 or whatever it was, or 2006. It's hard for me to believe that. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, dude, some of the best memories I've ever had were on Halo multiplayer.
Oh God, yeah, same.
But I just don't. Like Call of Duty is so big, and people are so into Apex and Fortnite. Everyone has their game of choice right now, and they're all paying for they're all paying for battle passes. I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know that Halo is going to come out and people are going to be like, "Yo, screw Call of Duty. I'm coming for Halo." Because and my opinion on that is because it didn't happen with Halo 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So
what I will say is that I get what you're saying, and I think you could be right. But I will say, I mean, Apex came out of nowhere, and I don't think anyone was really expecting it. Titanfall 2 did not sell well.
Now, at the same time, Apex was only the third real big battle. Like Warzone wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
right.
So now Halo has to compete with Warzone and Fortnite and Apex.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I was going to say, too, as far as Call of Duty, I mean, Infinite Warfare and then, what was it, World War II and then Black Ops 4 came out, and I feel like those no one really played those games.
No.
In my circle, at least. Yeah, and I feel like maybe not to the extent of Halo, but I would argue that Call of Duty's, quality dropped too, just like Halo did for 4 and 5. But Elijah is right. I mean, it's going to have to compete with, three big kind of, not that Halo is necessarily going to be battle royale only, which I don't think it will be. It'll definitely still have deathmatch and King of the Hill and whatever it is.
And I will say, Call of Duty for this one did step up its quality. Because I played through the campaign Modern Warfare. I played some of the multiplayer. I haven't played Warzone yet, but I've watched a lot of it, and it seems like a very well made battle royale.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I hear everyone talk so good about it.
I've only played a few matches, but I mean, it's really, really well made, and the fact that these games, Apex, even though I don't like Fortnite, it is well made, and so is Warzone. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think it's an interesting move. I think it's more in the realm of what Microsoft has been doing with something like Game Pass. I mean, they're really focusing on the consumer, and they've only been doing it for a few years now. But I'm curious to see if this is like something that they can keep doing as far as longevity, because you're paying $10-15 a month for Game Pass and never buying a game again. Like, how does that work out for them financially?
I really can't wrap my mind about I can't wrap my mind around how it's profitable.
I can't either.
I really don't get it, man. When you go into Game Pass, the selection of games is so crazy, and we're getting certain games day one. Like, I think wasn't Gears day one on Game Pass?
All of their first party games are day one.
And like that Xbox conference that they just showed, every single game on there will be playable day one on Game Pass.
Man, I just don't get it, man. Like the only thing I can imagine is that they're trying to pull people in and then up the price slowly, sort of like Netflix.
It's possible.
I don't.
It's working.
I can't imagine seeing how this is profitable. I mean, it is working. I have a Game Pass subscription just because I have a PC now, and it was like the easiest way to get the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, but I have Game Pass Ultimate until 2022, and I'm going to keep doing it.
I just don't get how it's profitable at all.
Can't wait to play Flight Simulator in 2 weeks.
Doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, like I said, is Halo Infinite coming out for Series X day one? Do they confirm that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like that's great. Yeah. You can buy an Xbox and then you can just log on and you have something to play day one. That's great. Like I love that for the consumer. I just don't see how it's a good move for Microsoft.
Then again, we also don't know the internals of what's going on, the numbers. We don't know any of that. There's got to be something.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, do I understand it? No, but does it seem to be working? Yeah. Grounded, that new game from Obsidian, the kind of survival early access game, I saw it got like 1 million players within like the first 2 days, which is crazy for that kind of game. Like, it's a small little game
in early access.
Early access. I hadn't even really heard anyone talking about it, and Game Pass really pushed it. So same thing with Carry On. Seen so many people playing that game through Game Pass that maybe otherwise would have not. So
there's a game coming out. I'm going to grab it on PlayStation. It comes out in 2 weeks, called West of Dead. I played it on Game Pass a little bit. I'm like, this is super good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how it works, but it is so pro consumer. And again, like I said, I really do feel like this Halo Infinite stuff is the same way. What I will say is, as somebody who's really played a lot of the past Halo multiplayer kind of segments of those titles, I wonder how this is going to compare, like as far as like the leveling system or stuff like that. Like, are people going to be expecting that old kind of Halo progression, or is this more, how Fortnite works or Apex or whatever it may be? That's what I'm curious about. But all right, guys, I think that about wraps it up. Actually,
we have one more question.
Yeah, we have a question from Pedro here. Our last question of the night. He says, Seth, and I'm going to include Austin, have you changed your tune on Tales of Xillia 2 yet?
No, the game's garbage.
Agreed. The game sucks.
So bad. The game's terrible, man. Like,
I hated that game.
It's so bad. It's the only game on PS3 I actually used a cheat for. And I used one of the save editors on PS3 that you can buy like on Amazon to give myself unlimited money so I could play the game like it should be played. That game is so bad. It's so bad. Thing,
if I remember right, and the reason why I haven't played this game since it came out, so I honestly don't know. But the reason I remember hating it was because it like forced you to do side quests to go through the main story.
Yeah, so for a normal RPG, you do side quests to level up, so you can stock money, so you can buy a ton of potions and like stuff like that, and you get a reward from it. The thing with Tales of Xillia 2 is it forces you to do side quests. You can move in the story because you have a massive debt that's thrust upon you at the beginning of the game, and to move forward in the game, you have to pay off this debt, which includes you dropping all of your money into the debt system. And then in order to actually like stockpile money like you should and level up in the game, you have to just grind enemies, and it sucks. That game sucks, dude. It sucks. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the worst part is Xillia 1 is phenomenal.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Like one of my favorite games last gen.
Yeah.
And then this came out. Garbage.
I have the collector's edition. Garbage. I don't even know where it is.
Yep.
I have the giant statue edition. I have no idea where it is. It's at my dad's somewhere, probably. It's stored away. It's just that game sucks on every level, man. There hasn't been a more disappointing game other than Kingdom Hearts 3, which I will never get over.
I'd agree with that. I think
I will never get over.
I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
But speaking of disappointments, thanks for listening to our show.
By the way, Reed Richards.
Oh yeah, you were right. Thanks.
Oh,
appreciate that.
Wow, that was really delayed, Elijah, but thank you.
I started to look it up and then got completely sidetracked by our discussion, and then just kind of looked at my phone because I'm like, what time is it? Oh, right, Reed Richards.
For a second there, I thought you were like, Reed Richards has a question for us. Don't miss that one. And I was like, who? But
Mr.
anyway.
Fantastic, Reed Richards. Stretching me.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Frameskip. As always, if you're listening, you probably know this, but we're available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and as of I think 3 weeks ago, these shows have also been going up on our YouTube channel. So they're also on there. Still just audio, but they're just another way to listen to the show. So if you're on a platform that allows you to leave a review, please do so, as it really does help out the show, especially on Apple Podcasts. I know it kind of promotes your show the more reviews you have. So please get a review out there. Even if you don't listen on Apple Podcasts, but you just listen to the show, go on your iTunes, log in. Go to Apple Podcasts, go to our podcast, leave a review. Please do it. If you want to send us questions, as always, you can do that every single week, and we'll read them off here as long as they're applicable to something we're talking about and not ridiculous. Email us at frameskippodcast@gmail.com. You can send those questions in also on our social media pages, FrameSkipPod on Twitter and Facebook.com/FrameSkipPod. You can follow us on Twitter at Seth S. Taylor is Seth. Elijah is at Loco Lizardman, and I am at Austin J. Eller. And then Coach deleted his Twitter, so don't try to find him.
Or do. You won't find him, but have fun.
Yeah, you won't find him. But you can try. But you will fail. But that about does it for this week, guys. So thanks for listening. And I don't think we're going to have an episode next week. I think there's too many of us that are going to be gone. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. But as always, keep on listening to the show and not gaming, because that's a copyright infringement from our previous show. Bye.
Bye.